Hello and welcome to another Monday News Surge. It is July 1st, 2024, coming off the heels of the Mining Disrupt Expo that just happened last week in Miami. We've got some news, a couple stories from Dennis Porter, a chart from the Rational Carrot Root, and a personal story about a purchase I made using Bitcoin from a company that might surprise you, accepts Bitcoin. But before we get into all that, let's jump over to the numbers. We are here, as always, on timechaincalendar.com. It got a bit of a facelift. Things look a little bit different, but the information is still the same. Right now, well, it changes, I guess, from day to day, but the price right now is 62,000, just shy of, I guess, 61,962, meaning for $1 you'll get yourself 1,600 and some change in sats. Fees are low. We've got anytime at 6 sats per VByte and priority at 8. Not much at all. So now's a great time to consolidate those UTXOs if you are needing to do that. The blocks are coming in kind of slow. You can see that over here by my right ear. 10 minutes and 41 seconds. So in 610 blocks, we're going to see a downward difficulty adjustment of 6.34%. This story is posted over on Forbes, but I've seen it a few places. First place I saw it was over on Twitter, and it's about this groundbreaking Bitcoin bill that Matt Gaetz introduced to Congress after crypto price crash. I don't know what that has to do with anything, the crash that happened over the past couple of years, whatever. But here, Matt Gaetz is saying, this is a bold step toward a future where digital currencies play a vital role in our financial system, ensuring that the U.S. remains at the forefront of technological advancement, Gaetz said in a statement, adding it would promote innovation, increase efficiency, and offer more flexibility to American citizens. I'm not sure how much I care to pay my taxes in Bitcoin, but I'm looking at the bigger picture here, the large umbrella under which this story falls under, which is Bitcoin is becoming more and more mainstream with every passing day. On that very note, last week I was talking about Michael Dell and Bitcoin, and here Michael Dell is in the Bitcoin news again from BitcoinNews.com. Billionaire Michael Dell keeps dropping hints about Bitcoin. He posted this poll saying, the most important thing, AI, Bitcoin, which won, Bitcoiner showed up in force it looks like, love and relationships. I think that love and relationships is more important than most things, Bitcoin included, but it is good to see Michael Dell still talking about Bitcoin. That he even included that in his list there is interesting. And on that very note, we've got this here from Simon Dixon saying, somebody selling their shares to buy Bitcoin? ? This news post that he's got here, the screen cap, is from Yahoo Finance, and it says, the founder of Dell is selling 1.3 billion worth of shares. Should investors be getting out too? Well, I think what investors should be doing is not getting out, but asking, what's he gonna do with all of that money? Last week, Dennis Porter teased some major news, and this is exactly what it is. He posted this about a week ago at this point. Massive breaking bill to defend Bitcoin rights and ban CBDCs passes into law. That's a 2-for-1 right there. Satoshi Action passes 4th law to defend Bitcoin rights in the USA. Louisiana joins Oklahoma, Montana, and Arkansas in setting pro-Bitcoin policy blueprint for the nation. Once again, we need to be looking at the bigger picture here. This isn't necessarily such a big thing in and of itself. Yes, this is a good thing. Don't get me wrong there at all. This is a very big win for Louisiana and the other states that have done the same thing. Yes, good for Bitcoin. But that Bitcoin is being talked about in this way, in a legal way at the state level, is what the big news is there. We are one state away from reaching 10% of Bitcoin, pro-Bitcoin adoption on the state level. Another tweet here from Dennis Porter. This is from the recently ended expo over there in Miami. It says, standing room only, we are so back. This is from the chat with Fred Thiel and Ted Cruz. Here you see there's not a chair, an empty chair in sight. And those chairs, I must say, are pretty comfy looking. People standing in back there. Again here, just stuffed, packed house here. People standing around. And this is, as I pointed out, the Fred Thiel and Ted Cruz chat, which looked like it was a good time. It looked like the whole event was a pretty dang good time. The reason I'm sharing so much from Mr. Porter here is because of anyone that I follow on Twitter, He is about as deep in the trenches as it gets. Yes, there are the devs, and you could say they are in the deep, deep trenches because we need Bitcoin to work for laws to even be passed about it. Absolutely, 100%. But for the most part, Bitcoin is working just fine. What we don't have working just fine is legislation being passed. But Dennis is working on that very thing. And so when he says, I have never been more bullish on Bitcoin, public pensions are stacking sats, mining is a key piece of America's energy infrastructure, institutions are DCAing into Bitcoin, presidents are fighting for our vote, but I promise you, much bigger events are coming. I pay attention. This guy is in the thick of it. He is there talking to senators, talking to aides, talking to lawmakers, and going, hey, this is important. This stuff needs to happen. We need to solidify the USA as a major player, the major player in the Bitcoin space. On the slightly bullish side of things, we've got some news here from the Carrot Man, the Rational Root, showing that July has historically been the time where the bull market kind of kicks off. Everybody's got their engines revving, things are happening, and, well, that supply shock that you've heard so much about, it's around the corner, if history repeats. Who knows if it will, but boy, there's a lot of news. And just a layman's perspective here, it seems like the rocket ship is getting fueled up and the pilots are boarding. Now, my second to last story here is a personal one. I recently made a purchase from this company right here, Weatherwool. They sell some of the finest, if not the finest, wool products that you can buy. I don't even remember how I decided to go and check this out, but I was looking for a poncho, so I remember that part, and then poking around, I saw that they accept crypto, and he at one time, and I say he, Ralph, the owner, mentioned Bitcoin. So I reached out to him, I asked him if he'd be interested in doing that, got it all worked out, paid him in Bitcoin, and got myself the best jacket that I own, hands down. I've worn it when I live in the Pacific Northwest, where the climate can change from day to day quite drastically. So I've worn it in as low as 40-ish degree weather already. I was warm and toasty, and I was wearing it in my black SUV with the windows rolled up, and it was 70 degrees outside. It was definitely hotter in the SUV, and the sun was on my sleeve, and the wool was cool. It was cool to the touch. So that's about as high a praise as I can give it without spending the whole rest of this episode on this very thing. One last thing here. I think this one right here is really important to remember.
I offered you $10 million. Would you take it? Yes?
Yes.
And what would you say? Thank you?
I would. I'd say thank you.
But the only catch is you don't get to wake up tomorrow. Would you still take it?
No.
Exactly. So that means waking up tomorrow is worth more than $10 million. So wake up with a smile on your face every day and say that you're worth $1 million.
That is some high quality advice.
The reason I like that is because it drives home the importance of time. Here's the thing to remember. It doesn't matter what the Bitcoin price is doing from the day to day. Be glad that you're here to see what it's doing in the day to day. See you next week.